Coming up on the bench, the up and down Syracuse men's basketball season took another turn in a blowout loss to Duke, and the road didn't get any easier. We'll let you know if SU righted the ship or kept taking on water.
And Syracuse women's hoops had one last tune-up game before the ACC tournament. SU is on the road taking on last place Pitt. Could the Orange prevent the Panthers from popping their tournament bubble?
Well, meanwhile, Syracuse men's lacrosse came up short last weekend to a ranked Maryland team. The reward? Another ranked matchup. Could Gary Gates' crew knock off one of the best in the ACC? Stick around and find out. That and a whole lot more. It's On the Bench, and it starts right now. Hey, and welcome to On the Bench. He's Calvin Christoforo. I'm John Dales. Calvin, do you remember what you were doing 20 years ago today?
Yes.
What was that?
Eating cereal.
Wow.
You can book that.
Impressive.
Take it to the bank.
I think I might have been doing the same thing as well. But that, ironically, is where we're going to start this week's headlines. 20 years ago, Jerry McNamara and Akeem Warwick were gearing up for an NCAA tournament run that had finished with a national championship. And this Saturday, the two of them will have their jerseys retired in the JMA Wireless Dome at halftime of Saturday's Cuse men's hoops game against Wake Forest. GMAC's number 3 and Warwick's number 1 will get up to the rafters, raised as part of SU's 2003 20th anniversary celebration.
And some bad news for Syracuse football. Quarterback Garrett Schrader is officially out for the 2023 season. Well, at least the one in the spring. The quarterback is set to miss the entirety of spring practices due to a successful surgery on his right throwing arm. The Signal caller said he's sad and disappointed to miss the spring season, but looking forward to the upcoming year in the fall. As for the team, practices start on March 21st.
Well, a week ago tonight, Syracuse men's hoops, they'd just gotten throttled by Duke. That was the bad news. The good news was they had a chance for a road win at one of the top teams in the ACC this year, that being Clemson. The Tigers were just in the top 25 a couple of weeks ago, but had lost their previous game to Louisville, the worst team in the ACC, but they led by the motto, shoot from long and prosper. They did exactly that against the 2-3 zone. 3 minutes in, Hunter Tyson knocks down a 3 to put Clemson up by 8. P.J. Hall, who had a double-double when these two met last year, gets started on the right foot. His jumper puts Clemson up 29-16 with 5 minutes left in the half. Hunter Tyson adds more to his impressive tally. 2 of his 19 first-half points as the Tigers were roaring. Joe Girard tries to will his team back into this one. He does so with a 4-point play here. Gets the three-pointer and the harm. He hits the free throw, but it just brings Cuse back within 13. Defense no better in the second half. A minute 45 out of the locker rooms. Brevin Galloway nails a triple. 13 threes for Duke on Saturday. Clemson finished this one with 14. You see Jesse Edwards flying in here for a putback dunk. That's half his made field goals on the night. Only one more made shot for him, and in the final, Clemson takes it 91-73.
So after a loss to Clemson, the Orange shifted their attention to Pitt, a team where there was a lot said about off and on the court. After a win against Boston College last month, head coach Jim Boeheim called out Pitt and said men's basketball is not in a good place right now to ESPN's Pete Thamel. He said it's in an awful place we're in college basketball. Pittsburgh bought a team. Later, he apologized for those comments and said he thought the conversation was off record. But Pitt fans didn't necessarily forgive or forget when Boeheim walked into the Peterson Event Center on Saturday. All right, you get the point. But hey, I guess one way to silence the crowd is to win, right? These two squads rematching after a Pitt 2-point victory on the road back in December. And this game was really close until it wasn't. Joe Girard trying to make something happen early. Pitt on the break. Nike Sabandy lays it up and in. Panthers 11-1 when Sabandy scores in double figures. He had 10. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Joe Girard trying to go to work offensively. That is 3 of his 19 points on the day. But the 3-point shot belonged to Pitt and belonged to Blake Hinson. This guy shot it 17 times from deep. That is one of his 6 makes on the day. Gerard scoring, so was his backcourt mate, Judah Mintz. Now 9 straight games for more than 15 points for Mintz. He finished with 16, Syracuse down by 4 at the break. But in the second, more blank Hinson and more buckets. He made 6 threes, a team-high 22 points for Hinson, and SU now can't guard the 3 or the hoop. Nike Sabandy scrapes his head off the Peterson Event Center roof, and now the Panthers running in transition. Love up top, Diaz Graham for a deuce. Panthers roll 62 points in the second half for Pitt. They scored 99 and win it by 17.
Oof, 3 blowout losses in a row dating back to Duke. Syracuse comes back to the JMA Dome after that to play lowly Georgia Tech, who's 12-17, third from the bottom in the ACC. Well, all that being said, can't get any worse, right? Well, things started on the right foot for Syracuse in this one. Benny Williams, right off the opening tip, goes strong to the cup and scores 2-0 Cuse. The offense hasn't been the issue lately, though. It's been that 2-3 zone. And Laz Terry hits this 3 to put GT up by 1. You're reading that right. Put it in reverse, Terry. He wouldn't. Buried 6 more from deep before this contest wrapped up. And it looked like we were in for a track meet as Jesse Edwards responds, ties things at 21. The Yellow Jackets didn't slow down, though. Miles Kelly nails another triple. That's when Georgia Tech started to run away with this one. 10-point lead there. 30 seconds left in the half. Javon Franklin and 1 dunk. Jim Boeheim upset down at the bottom of your screen. 9-point lead into the locker rooms. Same story in the second half. Lance Terry with a 3 to put GT up by 23. Too big a mountain to climb for Syracuse as they try to get back. GT recorded a school record 18 made 3-pointers as Terry hits again. The Yellow Jackets tying the school record low for Syracuse from last year against Colgate in most 3-pointers ever allowed in a single game, 96-70. SU losers of 4 in a row.
Is that bad?
That is very bad, yes, and it's also not helping the Orange out standings-wise. Looking ahead to the ACC tournament, they seemed like a shoo-in for a first-round bye. If the Orange lose Saturday, though, and BC wins, they'll slide down to the 10 spot, play on Tuesday.
9 teams in the ACC get a bye, and Syracuse, a team that was 4 games over 500 an ACC play, or 3 games over just a couple of days ago. Now 1 game under after this 4-game losing streak. Very well could play a Louisville team they only beat by 1 point in the first round of the ACC tournament. Not the spot the Orange want to be in, especially for a team that needs to win the ACC tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. But my final thought on this.
Yep.
Syracuse wins out.
Okay.
They're national champs.
That's
and you can
true.
take that anywhere you want to go.
That's true. The problem is they're not looking like a team that can win well right now. Things bleak for Jim Boeheim's team, but they're not the only basketball team on the SU Hill. Syracuse Women's Hoops is fighting for a spot in the big dance right now. We'll catch you up on FLJ's squad when OTV returns right after this quick break.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back on the bench with John Dales. I'm Calvin Christoforo. John, I know you grew up with brothers, right?
Okay,
So you know they got your back when you need them to do that?
Sometimes.
I mean, how
yeah.
great of a security blanket is that, huh?
It's pretty good.
Well, Syracuse men's basketball needed Syracuse women's basketball to have its back after the Orange fell pretty bad at the Peterson Event Center. Syracuse women's hoops in that same building because it's been a rough stretch for SU men's basketball. We just talked about it, a minus 77 over a 4-game losing streak. But hey, Syracuse women's hoops, a chance to make the NCAA tournament. That is, if they could get by Pitt, the final challenge in the regular season slate. Orange on the bubble, according to ESPN's Charlie Cream. So Syracuse needs a win and cannot afford a loss to last place Pittsburgh to close out this regular season slate. The Panthers just 3-14 in conference play, trying to play spoiler though on their home floor and get revenge after SU beat them by 18 earlier this year. Deasia Fair though says, I'm having none of that. That is one of her 7 threes on the day. She only shot 10 of 7 from beyond the arc. Daishanette Harris though on the other end, a scoop and score. Pitt within 5 still in the first quarter. But back to Deasia Fair. She's knocking it down from deep. Every single game this season, all 29, she has scored in double digits for the Orange. Dariana Lewis making stuff happen for Syracuse down low, but that is just a distraction to the Deasia Fair show. Step back, where are you going? Where am I going? The bottom of the cup. Fair all over the court, finished with 23 points in this contest. Orange finished the ACC play at 9-9, and John is at the wall to break down their tournament hopes.
Thanks, Calvin. And now that the calendar has flipped to March, it's that time of year. Basketball season heats up. For that, we bring on our women's basketball beat reporter, Jesse Cook. Jesse, year one of the Felicia Leggett-Jack era in Syracuse has gone pretty well so far. The Orange way better than last season, but as we get into postseason play, can't just be the starters. Bench has to show up. How's the roster depth looking for Syracuse heading into the ACC tournament?
Well, that depth is looking way better. First of all, you've got players like Kennedy Perkins and Sanaya Wilson. Perkins had her season high against Miami, second to last game of the season. Sanaya Wilson, her second best effort against Pitt with 12 points. But also, I'm going to throw a magic number at you for Syracuse. It's 8. That's how many scores Syracuse usually needs to win a game, especially in the ACC. Against conference opponents, when 8 or more players enter the score sheet, the Orange are 7-1. When 7 or fewer players enter the box score, well, SU is just 3-7. Moreover, last time Syracuse played NC State, its first-round opponent in the ACC tournament, they lost by a bucket, and there were only 7 players who scored.
8 is the magic number for Syracuse women's hoops entering the ACC tournament. You just mentioned it. That matchup right there, the two of them have met before this season. What's changed since that January 1st matchup that was a 2-point Wolfpack win?
Well, for the Wolfpack, it's teams like North Carolina, Boston College, Virginia. These are all teams that have beaten NC State, and they're not exactly the cream of the crop in the ACC. NC State was at one point ranked number 6 in the entire country. That's definitely trailed off. As for Syracuse, players like Tisha Hyman and Asia Strong returned from injury. Hyman was notably absent from the score sheet in that game against the Wolfpack on New Year's Day. So if she puts up more buckets like she has been lately, then that's a win for Syracuse. Not to mention that fourth quarter against the Wolfpack, 5 points, the worst mark of the season in a single quarter for SU. That's picked up consistency-wise.
Syracuse playing much better basketball. That's when you want to play much better basketball in March. And you want to have your best coverage as well as we get to the end of the season. That's what Jesse Cook is providing you at Jesse Cook TV on Twitter. Well, that wraps up our SU women's basketball talk, but stick with us. On the other side of the break, Syracuse women's and men's lacrosse made their ACC debuts this past weekend. Stay tuned on the other side to hear how both squads fared.
No margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Hey, welcome back into our Citrus TV studios. John Dales, Calvin Christoforo. Some would say college kids talking college sports. Somebody should run with that idea.
That's fair. I might have 5 to 6 million subs on your podcast app.
5 to 6 million years of experience in the industry as well.
Combined though. That's one person.
Syracuse men's lacrosse also been doing some talking after a 3-0 start. Hard-fought loss last week, though, to defending champ Maryland. Next challenge after that, you open ACC play at home against number 12, North Carolina. Instant classic in Chapel Hill between these two last season when they met in the spring. UNC won that one on a goal right before the buzzer scored by Chris Gray. He's moved on to the PLL, but the Tar Heels have not lost a step. They turned a 1-goal lead into, a 6-goal advantage because of a dominant second quarter. Syracuse goalie Will Mark, he was averaging 7 goals allowed per game through 4 contests. He gave up 12 in the first half. Griffin Cook with a flashy BTB goal there. Still counts for just 1 though. SU down a half dozen at the break, trying to get back into it. Helps when you've got an extra attacker. Cole Kirst goes on the man up and scores to make it 13-8. 2 minutes later, Joey Spallina, one of his 3 goals in the game, cuts the deficit down to 3 after another man-up chance. But a veteran UNC squad, just too much for the Orange. Johnny Schwartz scores here in the 4th quarter, makes it 16-10. Final score 19-13. Gary Gate and company with a frustrating start to ACC play.
So while it's been an up and down start for Syracuse men's lacrosse to the season, it hasn't been very much down for SU women's lacrosse. The Orange are started the season with a win over number 4 Northwestern and then number 2 Maryland, and before starting a stretch of 4 straight games against unranked opponents with a win last week over Binghamton. Orange tried to follow that up with their road ACC opener against Pitt this weekend. It's Play Pitt week for Syracuse Athletics. Q's women's lacrosse trying to win the rubber match against the Panthers after a women's hoops win and a men's hoops loss. And Emma Tyrell gets it going off the feed from Emma Ward. The Emma Show connects. Syracuse up 4-0 in the first quarter, and the Orange did not stop. Kate Mashevsky's been so good at the draw control circle, and Megan Carney so good at doing this. Putting the ball in the back of the net, Syracuse scores 5 straight. They go up 6-1. Still in the first half, Olivia Adamson drives back to Megan Carney. That is her 15th goal of the season. This is game 4 of the year. She added her 16th as Syracuse continues to dominate. Maddie Baxter, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the party. 8 different Orange players scores, and the SU win tally is 16-4.
After that, earlier this afternoon, Syracuse taking on UAlbany, interstate rivalry, and the Orange got off to a real quick start in this one. Just over a minute in, Megan Carney makes it 1-0 SU, and you just got the feeling it wasn't going to be the Great Danes' day. Megan Tyrell climbing up that leaderboard, 4th all-time in points at SU with 342. She scores to make it 6-1 early on, still in the first quarter. You go ahead to 3 seconds left in the first frame. Megan Tyrell again makes it 11-1, running clock in the first quarter. 14-2 at the half, most goals in the first half all season for SU. Sierra Cockrell, one of 10 goal scorers to finish in the second half, 22-5. The Orange win it.
So not a great day to be a great day, but a great day to be a Syracuse tennis fan. Orange are off to a historic start. We'll tell you all about it when we come back.
He lives with anxiety, but with the help of this latest innovation from Be Normal, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With the swipe of a finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo. Why settle for being real when you can be normal? The Normal Maker, new from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. What we like, how our brains work. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Start by talking to someone you trust. And remember, there is no.
Here's to the straggly ones. The first ones. Hey, I look good with this ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. The itchy ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones. And the absolutely filthy ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Learn more at Movember.com.
Hey, good to see you again. On the bench, John Dills, Calvin Christoforo, maybe at the wall is what we should call it now.
Many people say, we'll do it live. We say we'll do it at the wall.
It's true. Earlier in the show, Calvin, I told you we'd go back to 2003. We're going to turn the clock back even further now, okay? Syracuse tennis, 8-0 entering a match with Miami. The Orange hadn't started 9-0 in 45 years, but right now, SU partying like it's 1978. Calvin, some nice stats throwing up on there. You remember President Carter's term?
I do. When you asked me earlier what I was doing in 2003, I told you I was eating cereal.
What about 1978?
I was thinking about eating cereal.
Okay, yeah. Well, the Orange trying to make all those accolades happen for the first time in 45 years and playing against the Hurricanes, welcoming the Hurricanes to Drumlin's Country Club. So as we get things started there, big time matchup in this one was Alexa Knoll, the number 8 player in the country, undefeated as a freshman for Iowa back in the day. She's a Hurricane now and faced off against Zeynep Erman, who battled back from injuries the last 2 years. 0-3 at top-seeded singles court so far this season for SU. Erman relied on making Knoll run all around the court, keeping the former Big Ten Player of the Year on the defensive. Hey, the Hawkeyes aren't walking through that door. After winning the first set, Erman goes 5-0 in the second. Knoll fights back later on, though, to make it 5-3. This call right here is where it finishes, though. Knoll calls it out, gets overruled by the umpire to make it 40-40. Then, because she was overruled for the second time, it's another point. SU ends up winning it there. Erman wins game, set, and match. Sam Reed.
Up here, the umpire is granted the best view in the house. And down below me on court 3, in a match where passion was on full display, the official got to witness Zeynep Erman spring an upset over the 8th-ranked singles player in the country, Alexa Knoll, which guided Syracuse to a 5-2 victory over 23rd-ranked Miami. Head coach Eunice Limam explained what it took for the senior to pull off the unlikely feat.
I think Zeynep from day one, we all knew that she has a big game, and I think sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to put all the pieces together. I think she's got a huge forehand, a huge serve, and when she commits and does those two things very well, obviously the sky is the limit for her. To step in against a top 10 player and play the way she played and handle the occasion the way she did was very impressive, and I'm sure she will take a lot of confidence from today. They play for each other. I think it goes a long way, playing for each other and competing and refusing, having that mindset of refusing to lose.
The Orange were dominated in doubles, but flipped the script in singles, winning 5 of those 6 matches to improve to 9-0 on the season. Next up, another top 25 opponent awaits as Syracuse welcomes 20th-ranked Virginia on Friday at 3 p.m. Reporting from Drumlin's, I'm Sam Reiss, Citrus TV.
Sam, thank you so much. Nothing but the best seat in the house for the best in the business. But while things
hold
are
on
going...
there, Calvin. You're about to tell me we're going to women's ice hockey, right?
I'm telling you
well,
that.
remember the deke out I pulled on you last week?
Yeah.
Mentioning the Lindenwood banner?
You got
How about this right here? How about this? A Lindenwood banner for Calvin Christoforo. You might not know.
Oh my God.
His final show here on OTB.
You brought a prop?
So we brought the Lindenwood banner for you. The Lions.
Oh my goodness.
Lion
This is
Nation
a prop.
showed
Well,
out
first
here
of all,
for you
Luke
tonight.
Burgess failed his mission, so he had to go to plan B. But I appreciate the sentiment. That's crazy stuff.
This is yours now.
Oh, that's the good news. The bad news, Syracuse women's lacrosse, women's ice hockey, isn't going to be playing Lindenwood. They're not going to be playing anybody. Their season is over. The Orange got swept by the Mercyhurst Lakers in the CHA semifinals, losing by a combined tally of 11-3 in the last 2 games. In the 6-0 deciding Game 2, the nail in the Orange coffin, not the season head coach Brittany Smith won in year 1, finishing at just 10-24-2.
Ouch. Not what Paul Flanagan would have wanted, would have been.
Paul Flanagan not happy with his former club, finishing 14 games under 500. Good news for tennis, bad news for ice hockey. We are wrapping things up here on the bench. When we come back, we are going to our Players of the Month. February over, where to go? 28 days, Players of the Month. When we come back, our top plays too. Stick with us.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back on the bench, and it's like Christmas here on OTB with John Dales. I'm Calvin Christoforo. I've received a Lindenwood banner I've been asking for 4 years, and now you get to listen to our Players of the Month, because with just 28 days in February, we now sit here on March 1st, technically March 2nd. Players of the Week go out the window, and in steps Players of the Month. And first up, we will go back to the well. The recently announced first-team All-ACC selection, Deasia Fair, who finished the conference slate strong and finished February even stronger. Maybe that's because she's number 2 and February is the second month, or maybe it's because she's a flat-out baller. Fair sat on the bench for a total, ready for this, 9 minutes in the 7 games the Orange played in February, averaging 21 points and 4.5 assists in a month, while notching 4 games of 20 and 5. Now with the ACC tournament coming up and a chance for the NCAA tournament, the only question is, can Fair be as good in March as she was in February, and quite frankly, the entire year?
I know a team that could use her. Those the Bears as they go into playoff season. But our second performer of the month goes to Judah Mintz, the point guard on the SU men's basketball team, has had 9 consecutive games scoring 15 points or more. And to put that into perspective, no SU freshman has done that since Carmelo Anthony back in the 2003 championship season when he did it 14 contests in a row. Judah also received the ACC Player of the Week honor for the 5th time this season. He's been a bright spot on a struggling Orange team.
Back to 03, back to my cereal eating. But last place, but certainly not last place, Megan Tyrell, our final Player of the Month. The 5th-year senior came in with so much hype this season. Preseason Offensive Player of the Year, coming off back-to-back 100-point seasons, and she picked up right where she left off. An 8-point day in the season opener, followed by, ready for this, you better be, a 6-goal, 5-assist day, and do the math, an 11-point affair against Maryland, a team that was not only the number 2 squad in the country, but the team's second in scoring defense last season. That's a lot of numbers, but just know this. Number 18 has her team right now 5-0, number 2 in the country, and inching closer and closer each day to number 1.
It's a pretty good spot to be in, isn't it? Well, Megan Tyrell, she's been a machine for SU women's lacrosse for years now, but we've been talking about February, our Players of the Month. Now let's go to our top 5 plays of the month. For that, we begin back at Drumlin's. Miyuki Kimoto has a lob shot here that gets SU a winning point in a tiebreak in doubles in a match that SU would end up having a ton of success.
Anything goes at Drumlin's. Anything goes on a Wednesday night in Tallahassee. Look at this. Reverse dunk. Jesse Edwards catches and stuffs. Come on now. With his back to the basket in one motion, a catch and a dunk. Jesse, man, making plays.
Play number 3, we've seen this one before. Calvin, we reenacted this one here in the studio. Deasia Fair, pump fake and score against Louisville, gets the defender to go flying. She's been great all month long, all season long. That one really impressive.
That, my friends, not fair. Neither is this. You get the scouting report on Jesse Edwards, dunks, rebounds, ACC leader in blocks. What you don't get? The 3-point shot. He hadn't shot one his entire career. Shot clock winding down. Orange need a 3. Edwards steps in and cans it. And here's the best part. Syracuse won that game by 3 points. That triple, the difference.
Jesse Green from beyond the arc, our number 1 play of the month. We go back to the lacrosse field. Joey Spallina, BTB goal, no look as well, and a losing effort against Maryland. 15 goals through 5 games for him.
Syracuse represented. Lindenwood represented. I mean, I don't understand.
And also Calvin Christoforo represented in our last images of the week.
Hello, my name is Calvin Christoforo. Welcome to the second semester.
Hey Calvin, Cam here.
What's going on, Mr. Christoforo? Just wanted to say congratulations on an incredible run.
Calvin, it's been a tremendous honor getting to call you a friend.
You on camera, funniest person I know. You off camera, wittiest person I know.
Oh, hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Calvin, what are you doing, man?
It's time to relax with some lax.
Oh, you thought we were gonna relax?
Can I see you boogie for a second, if that's... Oh, Deasia!
Thanks for everything, man. Gonna miss you.
Thank you, Calvin.
I can't wait to see the amazing things you do moving forward, and I'm proud of you, my guy.
The heck? He's hitting the ball. He's hitting it far. He might even hit one. Yeah, this is a bar. Everybody say, yo, 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 yo. What would Tommy Tanks do for a with bar. I got bar with bar. I don't care because Tommy T hits the ball.